Afternoon, IREF team and all the faculties. My name is Shujar Rai Chaudhary, and I'm appearing for MBA first sem in real estate construction and finance management. And here I am submitting my assignment on land acquisition, entitlements, and project clearances. Here I have chosen a topic. I have chosen a topic that is the laws made by the government in a period of time and the differences that is on the and the differences that is the law which was passed in 1894 act and the 2013 act. In 1894 act, land acquisition, it was done by the British colonial government. In this process, in this act, it was done for the infrastructure development, housing projects, and use by the companies under certain conditions, without taking the consent of the landowners. And the landowners were the victims at the time. In there was no provisions made for any kind of social impact assessment, and no provisions were made in favor of farmers, because multi-crop lands were also accused during that time, and just providing the compensation of the land as per the market value, which was as per the circle rates at that time. And there was no provision of return of land, if the land remained unused after the acquisition after 5 years. There was no role played by the panchayats and the panchayat blocks and the government from it was directly dealt by the government. Only 30% solatium, that is solatium means the compensation for the emotional loss. The person, a farmer whose land has been accused by the government that time, if the property lost by the farmers, just was given only 30% solatium for that emotional loss. And there was no provision of sharing the profits done after the infrastructure development done. And even no provisions for leasing and RRR was provided, and no provision for the food security. Those are poor, for the poor people. No provision was provided for the food security of the for the affected people whose land got acquired. And the land acquisition was done without giving any prior notice or any kind of token compensation, which was the major drawbacks. And that is why the Indian government, after the independence, came with an act in the year 2013, which has changed many many of those previous laws which were enacted during 1894. And in this law, that is Land Acquisition Act, which was developed in the year 2013, was passed during the by the UPA government in the year, which has changes many laws and regulations. In this act, before the land acquisition, landowner consent from the landowner is mandatory, and that is 70%, and that is 70% for the private public participation projects, and also 80% for the private projects, which could be raised to 100% by the state government. It depends on the state government whether they want to raise or not. And the social impact assessment was mandatory for every acquisition of land. Lease and RR provision was mandatory also. Unnecessary multi-crop lands were not accused. Unnecessary multi-crop lands are not accused, except only in extreme situations with an upper cap of 5% acquisition of multi-crop land per district. It was done. And in this law, the return policy and the food security was developed if the land remained unused. If for more than return policy was developed if the land remained unused for more than 5 years, and clauses were made. And food security was also developed for accurate land affected persons. The land acquisition also required public hearing and the gram Sabha's clearance. And the compensation value, which is a missed priority given in this 2013 act. That is, the compensation value was made on based on the market value in urban areas, and the double the market rate at rural areas, which is estimated from the circle rates and the sale instances. And the land acquisition is to be done for the public sector and the private companies, which also includes the strategic project, infra projects, projects for the affected families, and the residential projects for the poor. These are the difference we generally notice from the 1894 Act, which was completely government based act, and the 2013 Act was made for the keeping in mind for the consent of the people of or the landowners whose land was going to be accused or accused in further. So hereby, I'm concluding my topic of assignment. I just explained the main topics, main important points which were enacted in the year 1894 and in the year 2013. So thanks to the IRDF team. My and regards from my side, Sujay Rai Chaudhary, signing off. Thank you.